All right, here's the video for lesson 6.04a, independent practice. In this lesson, basically, we're going to take everything that we learned in the previous week, y equal mx plus b, the equation of a line. We're going to see how this is used in real life. We're going to make interpretation of the slope, and we're going to make interpretation of the y-intercept. So first thing, make sure you read the problem. It says that this graph here is showing the relationship between the distance traveled and the amount of time the car is traveling. If you look at the x-axis, the number down here, this is about the time. See? I'm assuming that the time here is measured by hours. If you look at the y-axis here, so this right here, this is your y-axis, okay? That is about the distance, okay? So these numbers you see in the y-axis is measuring the distance. And basically, what this graph is saying, that the more time a car is traveling, okay, spend time traveling, the more distance it goes, okay? Remember that all the equations of lines that are slanted, they look like this: y equal mx plus b. And remember from previous week, we already learned this, b is called the y-axis. I'm sorry, not the y-axis, the y-intercept, okay? And remember, the y-intercept is a point on the y-axis. And the point always going to look like this, 0, comma b, see? So when you look at the graph, I hope you notice, look, here's the point 0, comma 38. So that means that my b here is 38, okay? Now, what does the b mean in real life? In real life, b stands for the initial amount, the initial value, okay? How much you started with, the starting value. So 38, since it's on the y-axis, is the initial distance of the car, okay? Initial distance of the car. How do I know it's distance? Because the y-axis, you can see it says, I circle it, is measuring the distance. So the car was already 38 miles away from where it started. Okay, so that's the B here. Now we're gonna find the M. Remember, M stands for slope. Okay, slope. M is slope. Rise over run. Okay, so how do we find the slope of this line? We're going to make a table. Look, okay, X and Y. I hope you notice we had 2 points. So the first row is 0, 38. And the second point is going to be 1 and 102. Okay, and to find the rise, you're going to subtract the Y's. And to find the run, you're going to subtract the X's. So taking your calculator, let's subtract the Y's. Okay, so let me clear this. We're going to do 38, take away 102. And you can see I got negative 64. And now I'm going to do 0 minus 1. So when I do it in the calculator, I get negative 1. So what will be my slope? The rise is negative 64. The run is negative 1. If you put this in the calculator like that, negative 64, negative 1, you get positive 64. So my M is 64. Now, what does the M mean in real life? In real life, the slope, the M, is called the rate of change, which basically means, in this case, how much the distance is changing based on the time. Or in general terms, how much the Y's are changing when the X's are changing. In layman terms, when you're talking about distance and time, the slope is going to be the speed of the car. Okay, which in this case, I'm assuming that the distance is in miles and the time in hours. The car is going at 64 miles per hour, which means that every hour the car traveled, for every hour the car has been traveling, the car has traveled 64 miles. And that's what the slope mean? So now that we have that, let's put that in here. Okay, so the y-intercept, which is the b value, is 38. And what exactly that means, the initial distance of the car. The slope is 64, okay? And what exactly that means, that's the speed of the car. Okay, let's check our answer here. And there we go. Okay, let's do problem number 2 now. Same idea. Problem number 1 was a graph. Problem number 2 now is a table, but we're doing the same thing. Okay, so here we go again. Let's do problem number 2. Okay, this table, they told you that it has a linear relationship. Okay, basically that means that we're working with the equation y equal mx plus b again. Now read the problem so you understand what the numbers in the table mean. It says, a scientist begins tracking the growth of a tree over X month. Okay, the growth height of a tree in feet. So the height of the tree is going to be measured in feet. Let me put that here, feet. Let me put it by pencil. Feet, okay, over several months, and that will be X. Okay, so X is the month. All right. What I want to do, I want to find the value of B. Now, how do you know what is another name for B? It's called the y-intercept. Okay, the B. And who's the y-intercept? It's the point on the y-axis that start or looks like this, 0, comma B. That's how the point look like. So look in the table for the row that looks like 0, comma B, that start with 0. There you go. You can see it right there. Okay, so that means that my B is 3.5. Now remember, what does B really mean? The initial, in real life, is the initial amount, the initial value. Okay, so what exactly that means, the initial value, okay? That the tree was already 3 feet high. Okay, so the height of the tree was already 3.5 when we started measuring, or according to in this case, the scientists start measuring. Okay, so now we know the B. Now we're gonna find the value of M. Okay, and M is the slope. And remember, slope is rise over run. So how do we find the slope from a table? Pick any 2 rows. I'm going to pick, since I already highlighted the first row, I'm going to pick these 2 rows to find the rise and these 2 to find the run using a calculator. Okay, that's what I'm going to do now, using a calculator. All right, let's subtract the y. So 9.8 subtract 11.9. Okay, so you can see I got negative 2.1. So that's the rise. Now let's do the same thing with the run. 3 take away 4, and I get negative 1. All right. When I do the slope, rise over run, it will be negative 2.1 over negative 1. And when you divide this in the calculator, you're going to get positive 2.1. So the slope here is 2.1. Okay. Now, what does that really mean in real life? Remember, the slope is also known as the rate of change. In this case, if you look at the 2 columns, look at the title of the columns, okay? The X is the number of months, and the height is the Y is the height of the tree. So what this means is that the tree is changing every month, or is growing every month by 2.1 feet. So that's what 2.1 means here, that the tree is growing. Why growing? Because the number is positive, and it's growing by 2.1 feet per month. In other words, every month the tree grows 2.1 feet. Okay, and that's what the M stands for. So let's put it here. So the average rate, see, when you see the word rate, that's the slope. We found that it's 2.1, okay? And you can see there it says feet per month. And the initial height of the tree was 3.5 feet. And we did problem number 2. Okay, let's go problem number 3 now. Okay, I hope you're getting the idea. We're doing the same thing we did in previous week. We're finding the value of M, the value of B. But what we're doing now is we're making an interpretation in real life. What does the numbers are telling us in real life based on the story of the problem. All right, here's question number 3. Now here, this problem, number 3 here, okay, is a word problem. They gave you the description of the line using words, okay? Remember, we're still working with y equal mx plus b. Remember, b is the y-intercept, okay? Y-intercept, let me put that name here. Y-intercept, and the y-intercept is point on the y-axis that look like this, 0, comma b. But if you read the story, I don't see the point 0, comma b. So that's why it's important you know what does the b really mean in real life. And b in real life means the initial value. Okay, how much we started. When you read the story, and that's what I'm going to do now, I'm going to read the story. It says, Samuel goes to the froyo shop after school to get some frozen yogurt. The froyo shop charged $5 for a cup of frozen yogurt. So just to buy the yogurt, to start, is $5 right there. That's your B, your initial value. So I already know this is going to be $5. Okay, so just to buy the frozen yogurt, the cup, it costs you $5. Okay, now of course when you will go buy yogurt, you want to put some toppings. Okay, and that's when now we're gonna go with the M, and the M is the slope. And the slope is rise over run. Okay? And to find the rise and the run, I need 2 points. And the thing is, this work problem here, this story here, they didn't give me 2 points. That's why, and remember that the slope also means rate of change. Okay? Which means how two quantities are changing based on each other. Okay? There are keywords in math that imply slope, okay, rate of change. Those keywords, per, for each, for every, okay. These are keywords, rate, okay. These are keywords, and if you look, here's the keyword for each. So that means that 0.71 is going to be my slope. And that basically means that for every extra topping, okay, you're going to be charged 71 cents. And that's what I'm going to put here. So the price of a frozen yogurt increases. Now, why increases? You can see that the slope is positive. 0.71 is positive. That means that the price is going up. It's going to be 0.71, so 71 cents. And this represents the slope. Okay? And the initial price of a cup of frozen yogurt is $5. And this represents the y-intercept. And here is how we do it. Okay? And that's question number, I believe it was number 3. Okay, let's do the last question here. Question number 4. Okay, so in question number 4, let me take a picture of this so I can highlight what I need to highlight. And in question number 4, you can see that this equation is about Raquel joins a gym. And the gym has a joining fee. Okay, the joining fee is the initial amount. Okay, the joining fee is the initial amount, which means that's going to be my B. Okay, and a monthly cost. And so every month it costs you something extra. Okay? Monthly cost, that means that it happens every month. Okay? That means that this here, the monthly cost, is gonna be my M, my slope. Or put it this way, my rate of change. Okay, so how much you are going to be charged every month. So if you look at the equation, B is this number here, because remember, all the equations look like this: y equal mx plus b. The b is my y-intercept, so 33 is my b. And my m is going to be the number multiplying the x, which is 1019. Okay, so what that means that the initial amount or the joining fee is $33, and every month you have to pay extra $10.19. Okay, so 1019 is my slope, 33 is my B, and that's what I'm going to put here. So the initial fee is $33, and this is my y-intercept, and the price per month, see, here's the keyword, look, per month, okay, that's the slope, is $10.19, and that's going to be my slope, and I'm going to check my answer. And this is how you do this lesson. Okay, I hope this helps.